If you happen to read the title, you would know that this video is about animated characters hinted to having PTSD. So this is my personal opinion, but many other fans have also came to this conclusion. Pretty much the layout of this video is going to be, I tell you what PTSD is, stages of PTSD, how writers write PTSD, and then I'll use all those informations and explain why I picked these characters that do have PTSD or are hinted to have PTSD. PTSD, or post-traumatic stress disorder, is a mental health condition that can develop in a person after experiencing one or many more traumatic events. It can happen in any group of people, though it has been confirmed by professionals that it is genetic related. I'll get more into that later in the video. Symptoms these people might experience are bad memories, nightmares that are related to their traumatic event, mood swings. They are known to avoid places or people that can trigger their memories. Like a war veteran wouldn't go into a war museum since it would trigger a bunch of bad memories. They're also known to be sensitive to sights or sounds that can trigger memories. So once again, a retired war veteran wouldn't like loud noises like a popping balloon since it can remind them of gun bullets. You'll get to see an example of that later in the video. Now onto the stages of PTSD. There are 5, though the first 2 I feel like they're more of a building block to PTSD. The first one is normal stress disorder. It's just a normal stress response. This happens before PTSD occurs and develops. It can be easily cured by talking to loved ones like family, friends, or going to a therapist before it can turn into PTSD. Now for type 2, acute stress disorder has many similar characteristics to type number 1, but is a little bit more serious. It's a high stress disorder after a traumatic event. If left untreated, it can become PTSD. So it's kind of like a higher building block to PTSD since it's more high in stress and is a little bit harder to get treated than type number 1, though it's pretty much the same treatment. For type number 3, uncomplicated PTSD is caused by one major traumatic event and is actually PTSD. Symptoms are flashbacks, nightmares, mood swings, and avoiding things related to the event that can trigger some memories. It can be treated by meds and therapy. For type number 4, complex PTSD is triggered by more than one traumatic event. It has the same symptoms of type number 3, but it's more intense, and treatment is still the same, but it might require stronger meds, more meds, and a bit more therapy for the person to overcome it. Lastly, type number 5, comorbid PTSD, is a blanketed term of PTSD. It's pretty much someone who has PTSD, but also has other mental health conditions like substance abuse. It's much harder for these people to get treated for PTSD since they normally indulge in substances to numb their pain. Now on to how authors write characters with PTSD. Of course, it can range depending on the author and the age range for the audience. But what I've heard is that they try not to give their characters too many flashbacks and more try to display the war that's kind of going inside their head. Since in real life, we don't really get to see those flashbacks with a person that has PTSD. So it feels more connecting when you actually get to see the character stressing out, being more aggressive, maybe just dazing out if they're having a trigger. PTSD people, they get adrenaline rushes when they have it, and based off the character, the author can choose how they respond to it. So you can choose fight, flight, or freeze. So if the character seems more of a person that seeks comfort when experiencing traumatic flashbacks, they could flight or just freeze. Maybe their anxiety just takes over them. PTSD people commonly have someone close to them that comforts them, someone that they rely on to feel safe. But not if you take away the character from the situation, it can allow character growth to happen. And another thing is PTSD can be random. At some points, they can just be randomly triggered by something they do commonly, like making a PB&J. Maybe that butter knife suddenly triggers something inside of them. Moving on to the fun stuff. Hearing about the characters. The first character I'll be talking about is Flippy, a green bear that is a retired war veteran in the show Happy Tree Friends. He does not get hinted to having PTSD. He does have PTSD. He's trying to get back into normal society by trying to get a job and making friends, but has many complications with it since he gets easily triggered by sharp objects or like loud noises like popping balloons. And when he does get triggered, he has violent tendencies, mood swings, and many more things, which you'll be seeing. So as you can see in that video, immediately from those noises, it triggered flashbacks, mood swings, and violent tendencies, which makes sense for a retired war veteran to choose fighting as a stress response, which makes me think he has complex PTSD. Now on to our next character, Steven Universe, a 16-year-old half-human, half-gem boy that put an end to a 1,000-year gem war and is now responsible of taking care of all these new free gems and trying to make them learn about themselves. But stress from the past is definitely building up on him.
Series of miraculous recoveries, but that doesn't change the fact that you experienced trauma. You've recovered physically, but have you recovered mentally?
You think there's something wrong with my brain?
Not wrong. It's that adverse childhood experiences or childhood trauma can have a lasting impact on how your body responds to stress. This can affect your social, emotional, and physical development. When humans are in crisis, the brain releases the hormone cortisol. Your heart races, your muscles tense. I wonder if your body is reacting to a gem equivalent of cortisol. Stephen, do you remember anything bad in your childhood that particularly stuck with you?
I guess I kind of freaked out when they canceled my favorite ice cream. And then I got attacked by a giant bug monster. And I got trapped in a bubble and almost drowned. I lost control of my body and turned into a blob of cats. I almost turned so old I died. Amethyst almost died. Pearl did die. Garnet got destabilized right in front of me. I woke up with a black eye imprisoned on a spaceship.
Stephen, this is serious.
But that was just the early stuff.
I think all these experiences have been subjecting your body to a harmful amount of stress, and that's affecting your ability to respond to new forms of stress in a healthy way. You've been dealing with genuine threats from such a young age. Your body is now responding to minor threats as if your life were in danger.
But why am I only swelling up now?
Stress is less harmful when we have people we trust to help us through it. Maybe if you're losing your supportive relationships, or if you had a recent experience that was particularly awful.
I love that clip since it gives a scientific explanation of what stress does to the brain. And it shows a war inside his mind since he was experiencing flashbacks, but also on the outside. And it's very over-exaggerated since he's half gem, so it causes him to turn pink. Based off of the many flashbacks we saw and how intense his symptoms are, I would assume he is complex PTSD. For my next character I'll be talking about will be Earthspark's Starscream. I specifically say Earthspark since there are many different variations of Starscream, but in this one, it's after the Decepticon and Autobot war. Megatron is now a good guy working with Optimus Prime, but Starscream is still a Decepticon, but is still trying to overcome his hatred to Megatron. He still sees him as the evil warlord Megatron. It's more less exaggerated for this one compared to the other ones where Flippy had violent murdering tendencies and Steven Universe turned pink. He shows it way more subtly. It gives kind of like a realistic light.
Complicated history with Starscream. Just promise me you'll return him without excessive force.
One small detail that many people wouldn't notice in this clip, and many fans have thought of this as a animation error, but it's funny how it's only intentionally happened once. So as you saw in the first little bit of the clip, it was Optimus Prime and Megatron talking and all that, but his chest logo, it was the ghost symbol, it was gray. But when it went to the part where he was fighting Starscream, when it was the close-up, you saw the purple Decepticon logo on it. So even though Megatron has the ghost logo, he's a new man, he's now working for the good guys, Starscream still sees them as the person from the past, his past abuser that would put him through so many challenges.
They were clearly willing to abandon us.
That's not true.
Forget about them. I need you to do your little door trick and get us out of here.
No, I won't.
You have to, or else I...
Is this how Megatron treated you?
You believe me?
I believe he hurt you.
You don't know me. You couldn't possibly understand what I've been through.
Then tell me.
So in that clip, Starscream is being aggressive, forceful, pretty much doing something that this purple robot, hashtag, doesn't want to do. And she snaps back saying, "Is this how Megatron treats you?" And it's just a sudden stop to him. Since no one really believes him, he's a character that's known to be a trickster. So having someone that can actually understand what he's feeling was something crazy. And later in the episode, he does go and protects her throughout it. And I like how hashtag mention, like, to talk about it, which is one of the ways how you can treat PTSD, by reaching out to loved ones. So due to him experiencing abuse and manipulative behaviors, and probably way more since he was in a war, I would say that he has complex PTSD. And for our last character, we have Rapunzel. So Rapunzel, her backstory is she's locked in a tower for like years, pretty much for 17 years, 18 since I guess it's going to be her birthday. But she leaves the towers to see the lanterns. And in the movie, she has a whole sequence of right after she escapes the tower, she's going through a bunch of mood swings, doubting herself and not even trusting herself since it's a whole new surrounding to her. But she's really resilient since after in the movie, she learns to trust herself really quickly. She finds people to comfort herself and it doesn't really seem to bother her ever again. So that makes me think she has high stress disorder, which is very close to getting PTSD. But I feel like she found the right treatment and got to know herself before it developed even worse.
Did this! I can't believe I did this. I can't believe I did this! Mother would be so furious. But that's okay. I mean, what she doesn't know won't kill her, right? Oh my gosh. This would kill her. This is so fun! I am a horrible daughter. I'm going back. I am never going back! I am a despicable human being. Best day ever!
As you saw in that clip, she experienced many mood swings, anxiety, and just not trusting herself in this new surrounding. So it could be that she had great treatment and she didn't develop PTSD, or another reason is genetics. So many people can experience traumatic things. Some people can experience worse things than other people, and they won't develop PTSD since PTSD is genetic related. But not all the time, in a way that our environment can interact with our genes. So, as I read, it's kind of like our genes are light switches. So, whatever happens in our environment can determine whether these genes turn on or off, and that can determine why a person could get PTSD.